Not those of WFLA AM, its staff, management, or parent company, iHeartMedia Incorporated.
Welcome to the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show, your weekly voyage into Florida fishing. Presented by Hubbard's Marina, hosted by Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning, y'all. Captain Dylan Hubbard here at the iHeartMedia Empire for News Radio 970 WFLA for the Bartow Ford Real Animals Fishing Show. This morning, we've got Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly 'em High Charters with us this morning, chatting fishing and all things on the water, getting ready for a great little 2-hour segment here. So hopefully you're ready for a good show and excited for a little chilly morning here in Tampa Bay, but it is warming up quickly. It's going to be a little unseasonably warm for this time of year, I guess you could say, here in the coming week, and we have a nice little weather window between these fronts, and it should be killer fishing. So excited for a good week ahead. Best fishing coming up is definitely looking to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're coming up on that new moon, which is looking like Tuesday. And that new moon means it should concentrate the bite a lot during the daytime period. And then you have those dock lights going off. New moon is a great time for dock light fishing at night. If you're more of a nighttime angler, a little chilly for me this time of year to go nighttime fishing, but definitely makes things easy. Gets those fish concentrated around dock lights, bridge lights at night, and then during the day, a lot of moving water, a lot of big current flows, and a lot of bait flushing, which gets those fish even more active. And then couple that with the fact that we're on the backside of a cold front, coming up to another frontal boundary, trying to push its way into the Gulf Basin later this work week. Both of those things and the new moon put together means we're really primed for some great fishing opportunities early to mid work week. And it's an exciting time. A lot of fish moving around, right, Bobby?
Yeah, lots of fish. It's been good for a while, but it's just going to get even better.
Yeah, definitely. And we're in that time of year where a lot of fish are on the move. We got the snook moving back into the rivers, creeks, bayous. It was funny. Our guys are up in Tarpon Springs working on the Florida Fishermen. It's up in dry dock off the Anclote River in Tarpon Springs there at the end of the kind of busy downtown area, I guess you could call it, for Tarpon Springs. And they are fishing off the back deck of the boat when it's up on a railway 60 feet out of the water and casting lines out off the back, catching big, like 40, 41, 42-inch snook using either dead mullet or dead ladyfish just out there on the bottom. Big snook cruising into the Anclote.
My favorite big snook bait for sure.
Yeah, dead ladyfish.
Yeah, dead ladyfish, dead mullet.
Yeah, cut chunks. I mean, it's crazy. One of our good buddies who sends a lot of our photos in for the news segment that we do every Friday morning, Aaron in John's Pass, he sent me a video the other night. You couldn't see anything. It was just pitch black. He was fishing at one of the mouths of a local creek, Bayou River, and same thing, soaking a big, I think he said either ladyfish or mullet. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's got a really nice reel. I think it was like a Stella or something with a lot of drag, and he said the drag was just locked down, and all you can hear in this video, it's pitch black, it's just drag screaming. And then at the end, you hear the drag kind of change volume, and he said his reel just totally shot. This snook. Oh, wow. Yeah, snook or whatever it was, probably maybe tarpon.
Could have been.
Yeah, smoked his dead bait on the bottom and just ran and ran and ran until the reel just gave out.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely pretty intense. So this is the time of year. Fishing those backcountry areas gets exciting because those snook are moving back there. But also redfish moved offshore to spawn. We got a lot of redfish moving around the area from still, I feel like people are still catching them plenty consistently inshore too, right?
Yeah, for sure. It got really hot inshore with big schools, you know, getting ready for the spawn, but they have moved out. But they'll be back. They'll be back here probably maybe next moon, I would think, and you know, stay throughout the winter.
It seemed like pre-Ian they were really concentrated. A lot of people talking about schools of redfish. I know Mike was here every Saturday talking about schools of redfish.
Yeah.
And then post Ian, it seemed like it really stirred things up, kind of drove those fish offshore, because just in my microcosm of inshore fishing and Johns Pass, at least, post Ian, that 3 or 4 days after Hurricane Ian passed, it was 50, 60, 70 redfish a day you'd hear about on the jetty. And it was crazy because I'd be standing on the dock looking at the jetty. I'm like, what's going on? Are they having a party? Like, are they doing a barbecue over there? Why are there so many people on the jetty? And then I'd walk over there and everybody's bowed up, just redfish after redfish. It was crazy for like 3 days. And then all of a sudden it stopped. And now it's starting to trickle back where you hear about one being caught, or someone will send me a photo. Because where we're located in Johns Pass, people will fish the jetty, but then they'll constantly come over for bait because we're the closest bait shop to the jetty. So I'm constantly in my office overhearing someone at the counter, because our staff's always, oh, what'd you catch today? How are you doing out there? And they start giving a fishing report at the counter. So it's easy to kind of keep the thumb on the pulse of what's happening on the jetty. So it was really interesting to me to see post Ian all those fish stream out there to the Gulf and on the beach. And now it seems like they're starting to trickle back. And who knows, maybe we'll see that same kind of effect on the next moon. You think it's more full moon?
Yeah, probably. I don't think they'll be out there long.
Yeah.
You know, their spawn doesn't take too long.
Yeah.
So.
And I know there's a lot of big schools out there, because you see them when we're running out there for half-day trips, 10-hour trips. On the big party boats going a little slower, you don't really see them when you're going 35, 40 miles an hour on the Flying Hub 2. But if you're going slow, you can see them on the bottom machine. It looks like a big school of mullet on the bottom. And sometimes they'll come up to the surface, and then everybody and their brother can see them from a mile away.
And then the birds move in, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty exciting when they roll up on you. But just keep in mind, they're breeding fish. If you do run across those schools near shore, you got to remember those fish are stressed out. They haven't eaten. They've got one thing on their brain. And a lot of times when we catch them offshore like that, they look almost like eels.
Yeah.
Just so skinny.
Yeah, long, skinny, and beat up. I mean, you know, scales missing, parts of fins missing, tails all beat up, red.
Yeah, it looks like they went through a meat grinder.
Yeah, for sure.
So they're very delicate. So make sure if you do run into them near shore that you take extra care to practice all your safe handling techniques and get them back in the water quickly. Because there are a lot of times they're big fish. So the instinct is, oh, we got to take a good photo of this fish. Right. But they do not do well on release. Use
beefier tackle too, you know, so the fight time is shorter, you know, and they're not, because like you said, they're already stressed. So you don't want to stress them any more than, you know, you have to. Yeah. And no picture is ever worth killing a fish.
Yeah, especially a big breeder.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So be careful with those redfish. But so we talked about snook, we talked about redfish. The other exciting thing that's going on right now, again, at least for me in my little area of Johns Pass, but I feel like it's kind of Tampa Bay wide, is that flounder bite. We've kind of seen a soft flounder bite really since red tide, but even before red tide, in my experience at least, I remember as a young kid fishing Johns Pass, 8, 9, 10, 12 years old, there was certain pilings that I could just toss a shrimp out to and let it sink to the bottom and almost instantly catch big doormat flounder.
Nice.
Those same pilings are now out of the water, enveloped in beach sand, unfortunately, but you just haven't seen that crazy flounder bite in the last 5 years, I would say.
Yeah, I would say that's accurate. I don't target flounder a lot, but I do get quite a bit of bycatch when I'm fishing the rock piles in the bay. You know, grouper snapper fishing, you know, shallow water grouper. You get just off the edge of those rock piles, you know, that little kind of sandy or kind of molted type bottom, and we get quite a few flounders. Yeah,
that's what Mike was talking about the last time we brought up flounder too. And that's interesting because we get them a lot near shore the same way when we're fishing a big artificial reef or a wreck. If you swing off that ledge into that sandy bottom adjacent to it and 20, or not 20, but 30, 40, 50 foot of water, that's when we get a lot of big flounder. But a lot of times for us, it's cooler months that we're doing that because we don't really fish those big structures hardly at all, especially in the summertime because everybody and their brother's out there. But in the wintertime, behind the fronts, a big cold front will concentrate those fish on those bigger structures because they're all trying to hide out from that nastier weather. And then it seems like behind a front, the first person to those big structures really get a good opportunity to take advantage of the concentration of fish. So we always fish those larger structures most commonly in the cooler months behind the fronts, and that's the time when you might swing off it a little bit and nab a massive flounder. Oh, I think I hear music. It's time to go to break. We'll be right back. Real Animals Radio. We got Capt Mike from Big Pine Key on the other side and plenty more talking fishing coming right up. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Benny Jr. at Bartow Ford. No matter how much advertising we do at Bartow Ford, we still believe word of mouth is our best form of advertisement. That's why we are so particular about the...
You get flounders while you're hog fishing?
I thought our first break was 6:19. It's not your fault. I see it here on Next Gen that it's 6. It was scheduled for 6:13. So if the timing's a little off today, you'll have to just prompt me with radio because I'm so ingrained to the normal schedule. Sorry. Normally I'm good with commercial timing. That's why I was thrown off. But if you hit me with music, I'll make sure to get out on time. Thanks, man. Yeah, we started early, and then the first break was early. I guess that makes sense. If you start early, you get out early. But what I was getting to, what I was setting up for, is we've seen a lot of flounder recently, too.
Yeah.
I mean, some big flounder. This girl the other day on the jetty comes in the office. She was like, I need help identifying this fish we just caught. It was really flat, and it was big. And I was like, oh, it's a flounder. And she was like, are you sure? Can you look at the photo? And I was like, I guess. And I took her phone, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh, my God.
You're like, do you still have that?
Yeah. It was like the size of her body. It was huge, dude.
I'll clean it for half.
Yeah. I was like, you didn't catch a flounder. You caught the whole doormat. It was huge, man.
Do you get them while you're hog fishing in those nearshore areas?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Not so much hog fishing, because when we're hog fishing, we're anchored up on a specific ledge or a specific break, and you don't really get into that sandy bottom a lot. Most of the time, it's when we're drift fishing, which you still catch hogfish occasionally when you're drift fishing, but drift fishing just, it's kind of like, I equate it to using a trolling motor versus using a power pole.
Gotcha.
Like drift fishing, you're covering the whole flat, showing your bait to more fish. Right. Whereas you're power poled down, you're fishing a specific area.
Right.
So like when we're when we're hog fishing, you're power poled down. But when you're using your trolling motor, drifting across an area, we're just going for a quantity. So you get a lot of the grunts or the gray snapper that way, porgies, and then you pick up some hogfish and stuff like that. But when we drift across those areas and you get those little sandy patches, that's when we get a lot of those flounder. Or like I said, like right behind a front is when we catch what we call it the freaks. Yeah. Like what was that? That big front it started getting nasty Tuesday. Weather was really bad Wednesday. We're going to be disappointing you all morning long. Capt Mike is not here this morning. It's Captain Dylan Hubbard from Hubbard's Marina on the News Radio 970 WFLA Bartow Ford Real Animals Fishing Show. We got Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly 'em High Charters in studio this morning, and we're chatting fishing. We were on a little good tear there talking about flounder, And definitely want to wrap that up. What I was alluding to essentially was the fact that we're seeing a lot of flounder recently. So that's one of those things this time of year. Fish are on the move, and flounder get more and more aggressive, in my opinion, this time of year. And we were talking about how we haven't seen a lot of them in the last maybe 5 to 6 years, but it seems like at least in the last week we've seen a lot of flounder. So I'm a little excited. I'm hoping they pick back up like they used to, because it's always nice to pick up a nice doormat. Those are good eating fish.
Yeah, that's a nice surprise for sure, always.
Yeah, I think those are one of my favorite inshore fish to eat, in my opinion. Clean one for sure. We got Captain Mike in Big Pine Key here with a fishing report from down south. How you doing this morning, Captain Mike? Captain Mike, you there, buddy?
Well,
there he is.
hey guys,
Hey, good morning.
morning. Yeah, the Keys is firing off. This weather
Nice.
has got the fish nice and hungry and feeding on the troll, the pelagics. I know you like to hear about that, Dylan. We're getting them all. The wahoo have kind of showed up for a little while, and we've been catching about getting 2 to 3 shots at wahoo a trip, and the blackfin tuna are everywhere, and sailfish. We raised two marlin, had one on for a little bit yesterday, long enough to get a few pictures of a jump, partial jumps and everything, and just the fishing's been fantastic, and the bottom fishing's been great. The grouper and snapper and all the heads and tails that are possible in the Keys. The yellow tailin's been good, so it's really a great time to come to the Keys.
So, marlin. Is this the time of year that you get marlin down there?
We start to see them this time of year all the way through the winter. If you could call it a winter in the Keys, and all the way into beginning of April, we'll see some big ones.
Nice.
Hunkering around, about 400 to 600 feet. And, the guys that go extremely way out, disappear for a couple of days, will come back flying the flags. And so, we'll see some marlin, but the ones we see, in where I fish are usually in the, 180 to 300 pound range, which is still a monster fish for what we're normally trolling for.
That's awesome, man.
So our show's over at 8
Yeah.
o'clock. Dylan and I will see you about 6 p.m. tonight.
Yeah, I've always wanted to actually successfully land one. I've hooked a few.
Yeah.
I've traveled all over the Caribbean trying to hunt a marlin, and the closest I've come was I had one hooked and it jumped right behind the boat, and that was worth it for me.
Absolutely.
I mean, and I was in a really small boat in Ecuador. I was like, I saw the fish, I looked at the boat, I was like, maybe I don't want to land this fish. But they are definitely incredible.
Those guys know what they're doing, small boats and big fish down there.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny that the way they deal with them. But, no, the fishing's been great. It's been, you could tell the weather's changed because all us Keys locals, and I'm a local both on the mainland and the Keys, we put a hoodie on. The weather's changed when you see all the Keys locals with a hoodie on. So, but it's beautiful down here, and it's nice because we don't have to worry about overheating our clients or anything. That time of year has passed. So
Amen to that.
it's just a beautiful time to get to the Florida Keys if you're thinking about taking a trip and going fishing.
Nice, man. How would you get a hold of you if you were going down there to take a trip, catch a marlin?
It's 813-434-8086, CaptainMichael47gmail.com, or simply call 1-866-GAME-FISH, and Mike Anderson will point you our way.
All right, brother. I appreciate it. As always, thanks for calling in, Captain Mike Perry.
Great report. Thank you.
No problem. Guys, have a great day. God bless, and tight lines, everybody.
See you, buddy. Always a pleasure. Now I'm all
Marlin.
excited. Now I'm totally
Marlin.
thrown off. What in the world were we even talking about? And why does it matter?
Wow.
Yeah, man. I'll never forget that. It's really special hooking a fish like that those memorable fish, and there's something about a marlin.
Yeah.
And you can get them. You can get them out of Tampa Bay. That's what
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize is there's a lot of people that very successfully target sailfish, swordfish, marlin right out of Tampa Bay, but it's
like out in the loop.
It's a run.
Yeah.
One kind of highliner fishing team that I know of in this area that I follow quite consistently is that Team Ripper. They had a yellowfin. I think they changed boats, but they consistently run like 120 miles, and they are always pulling up crazy fish like that. And this is a time of year we hooked a marlin on the Florida Fisherman on a 39-hour in December. I think it was maybe 4 years ago, and it just dumped the reel.
Yeah.
There was no shot,
Yeah.
but they saw it tail walking away from the boat.
Dude, that's half the battle, man. And any fish that comes up and jumps and puts on a visual show,
Yeah.
that's half the battle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Reel it in and touch the leader, which I guess that's kind of the goal. but still, seeing it jump is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And especially if you get to see it up close like that. It's something you won't forget, let me tell you, speaking from experience. But so we were talking about flounder. Back to ground zero here.
Is that good marlin bait?
I don't know. I'm sure it probably is. Oh, man. So we were talking about snook, then redfish, then flounder. The other thing that's going on right now is mackerel. Mackerel moving in, and we're seeing mackerel on the beach all the time. It's crazy in the morning. It's almost, you could set your clock by it. Pre-sunrise, that like first morning light, all the pelicans start coming out of the islands, diving on all the bait inside the pass. And then as the sun rises and it gets brighter in John's Pass, that bait starts to move west and kind of flush out of the pass. And then all of a sudden the birds are working like crazy right at the tip of the jetty and along the jetty as that bait's moving out. And then once the sun's high in the sky, it's right at the sea buoy. It's just past that sandbar. It's crazy. And the mackerel are just following them the whole way. There's one charter boat in John's Pass, Captain Dave Zalewski. He's been mackerel fishing for a very long time, and he's kind of a professional this time of year at getting the kingfish and the mackerel going. And every morning he'll put the trolling rods in at Don's Dock, essentially, at the east end of the boardwalk, and he'll do a figure eight or two in John's Pass, and a lot of times hook up before he even makes it to the bridge.
There you go.
Yeah, and our boats, I mean, we're trying to put trollers out in the pass as we're waiting for the bridge to go. And as the boat goes in gear, it kind of brings everything taut.
Yeah.
You're stripping out line with the planer on the bottom. So that way, once it's in gear, you're ready to rock and roll, because we're catching them trolling through the bridge fenders. And
nice. That's the way to set the tone for a trip.
Exactly. Get started early. It makes it an interesting time of year, because it kind of adds excitement to the ride out and the ride back, right?
Yeah.
And you're fishing the full 5 hours instead of just 3 hours bottom fishing this time of year. But then the kingfish, we talked a little bit about it pre-show. The kingfish just haven't shown up yet. It's weird.
That is weird.
Yeah. Post Ian, that long period of overcast weather, clouds, and a lot of rain cooled the water off, and we caught our first kingfish right behind Hurricane Ian, and we were all excited, thinking maybe this is it. Maybe the kingfish runs here, and we didn't catch another one.
You think it might be the dirty water?
I think that, and then it warmed up really quick.
Yeah, it did.
Behind Ian, it didn't. The water temps didn't stay low. And then all of a sudden, we got into that first strong cold front of the year this past week, and I'm just hoping and praying we'll see the kingfish. I thought we'd get them right behind the cold front. We haven't yet. I think what you said just a second ago, the dirty water has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Once that water starts clearing up, the bait really gets active.
Yeah, when there's acres and acres of bait.
Yeah, and that clear water allows them to hunt the bait, because we don't see the bait unless it's driven up to the surface like that. And when it's driven up to the surface like that and concentrated, that's when it's really easy to identify, oh, there's the acres of bait that's up on the surface. But it only gets up to the surface like that if the water's clear enough and there's predators around to push them up there.
Correct.
The kingfish aren't here. The mackerel aren't here. We're not going to see the bait like that. So I don't know. Keeping my fingers crossed, hoping for the best. Don't forget, you can call us and bring us your fishing reports, fishing questions, talk fishing at 1-800-969-9352 if you want to join the conversation this morning. Again, that's 1-800-969-9352. We also have some helpful information on upcoming events. November 1st, we're doing a Hurricane Ian benefit. The Florida Guides Association is at Gator Jim's Tackle. So make sure you join us for that, and we'll be right back. Real Animals Radio.
From the BioCell Neuropathy Pain Relief News Desk.
News, traffic, and weather. Top and bottom of every hour.
News Radio WFLA.
Sorry, man. I'm still trying to figure the timing out. Weird.
What time do you normally?
It's 6:19, 6:30, 6:50, 7, 7:19, 7:30, and 7:50.
I don't have this email.
I gotcha. Well, you don't control this, do you?
No.
Yeah, so it says 6:28. So I'm
That's
just.
when I hit it.
Oh, I gotcha. Huh. Do you want me to send this to you?
That changes whenever.
Oh, okay.
Depending on where we are in the show.
I gotcha. Yeah, I don't know how this works.
Yeah. No, I didn't have this email, so if I would.
You want me to write this down for you? Yeah, that'll work too. I don't know if this is like official. This is just what we've always done.
I'm pretty sure it's official.
I gotcha.
So yeah, I was just going off our clocks in DAE.
Oh, I gotcha.
So we do basically every 15.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, I've never hosted DAE. I've always just been a guest over there, so I don't know the timing.
Expect another chilly morning for your Saturday. Plenty of sunshine.
Everything's different in that studio.
Yeah.
This time though,
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. My bad.
No worries, man.
sunshine and high temperatures in the lower
Appreciate you coming in, Derek.
Yes, sir.
evening temperatures dipping into the low mid-70s and not quite as chilly Sunday
So
morning.
we were talking about, the kingfish, but I think we've kind of finished that conversation.
Yeah.
Want to try to promote the Florida Guides Association event as much as we can as well. Help me remember.
Dude, that's huge with Salt Strong.
Yeah. Especially, I didn't know Luke lived right there.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. So, him joining will be really cool.
I mean, hell, between riding their coattails and riding the coattails of your followers, we'll have people show up.
Yeah, for sure. And just the amount of people from NOAA, FWC,
Yeah.
all the law enforcement people that we invited. There'll be a lot of people at the event.
Yeah.
I got to touch base with Gator Gyms and make sure that we're good to go there.
Do you know? I mean, it's not that far of a walk, but it will be dark. Do you know anybody that has like a golf cart, like a little 4-seater or something that we could like shuttle to Maximo if parking's
good idea.
If parking's an issue?
I know you're talking about Maximo Park, right? Yeah, that one right across the street. Yeah. And then O'Neill's is right down the road too.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
a good
and
point.
O'Neill's you can park like both sides of the road, going like you don't have to be in, O'Neill's.
Yeah, there's tons of room or
Yeah.
tons of parking around Gator
Yeah.
Gyms. And they have a huge parking lot, so I'm not really concerned about space.
Yeah, space isn't the issue. It's just, with it being dark and at nighttime, people having to walk, around the corner and up. And I mean, it's not a long walk, but still, it's a minute by golf cart versus, a couple,
5 minutes.
Right.
That's a good point.
But I don't know anybody that's got a golf cart or a side-by-side or a hunting buggy or anything.
Yeah. I feel like we should know somebody. Don't they have to be street legal?
Well, I mean.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit of a tough one, finding someone who's willing to shuttle
Right,
strangers.
because that's the thing. Then you got to have a dedicated driver the whole time too.
Yeah.
You know, or shifts or whatever.
So Captain Mike said, Captain Mike Perry from Big Pine Key said, flounder aren't the best bait for marlin. Said big skirted skirted plugs. Good morning, Blonde Blaze, Earl Webb, Eddie Chaps, Ron Beaton, Stephen Batchelor, Jim Demmel. Good morning, guys.
Dude, I've seen some like Great Barrier Reef, black marlin fishing and stuff when they're sewing up tunas and skipjacks that are this freaking big.
Yeah.
It's like, good God, that's nuts. But,
It's nuts.
I mean, if you're specifically targeting big granders, I mean.
Yeah. Or they're slow trolling a 6-pound bonita.
Yeah. Bridle it, toss it back out.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Reports of electric vehicles bursting into flames.
Yeah. People that were driving through the floodwaters, and then now they've charged it, a couple of cycles, and so that it's creeping. You know how it'll creep up electrical, water will. It's creeping up, and it gets to where the batteries are. Like some dude's house burned down. He had it like in his garage and was charging it, and his whole freaking house burned down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Tell your smart device to play WFLA on iHeartRadio.
The learning curve.
Ford Real Animals Radio Show, presented by Hubbard's Marina. Now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
We're back, Real Animals Radio on this chilly Saturday morning. Not too chilly though. Finally getting a little warmer. It was behind that front was a little too cold. I like this now. This weather's not bad.
Yeah, it's good. I don't have socks on my sandals.
Yeah, exactly. Way to be a true Floridian, Bobby. Yeah, no socks on the flip-flops this morning. But it's interesting, though. You get into this time of year, and it's so cold in the morning, and then by midday, it's 80 degrees, and you're back to T-shirt and shorts. It's like winter for 2 hours, then it's fall for a couple hours, and then it's summer the rest of the day.
Yeah, you definitely have to layer on the water.
Mm-hmm. You got to be prepared, that's for sure. And I enjoy the cooler temperatures, but it frustrates me when everybody's like, oh, it's so nice. I love this time of year. Because it doesn't get nice like this in the state of Florida unless it's rough and windy offshore. So it's nice. I enjoy it, but it's also a double-edged sword. It doesn't get like this unless we've missed a couple days of offshore fishing.
Yeah, definitely. But look on the bright side, though. You can wear boots and drink, pumpkin spice lattes.
That's exact. I mean, my Ugg boots have been calling my name. Thanks for putting it all into perspective, Bobby.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
Appreciate you, man. We've got Ron from Ron's Tackle Box. Hopefully can save us from that quick rabbit trail. How you doing this morning, Ron?
Hey, doing great out here in Polk County.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, this weather is good for us here.
Okay.
Because of the crappie, the speckled perch. That water cools down. We need that water temperature. My experience, 58 degrees.
Ooh.
For the water. And we get that, they're on heavy.
Wow.
But right now, just the weather change has turned them on real good, and they're fishing a lot of shallow water for them in the canals and mouth of the canals and all the chain of lakes here. They're producing some real nice fish. So good time to get out here, get started in that.
Nice. So the speck fishing is already picking up?
Point.
The specks are already picking up, you're saying?
Oh, definitely. Real nice ones.
Wow. That's awesome, man.
Get that change of temperature, and they get turned on real good. And bass fishing's good. Now, you're asking me, a couple weeks ago about a big bass. We had last Saturday, right at 13 pounds over here in Lake Michelle.
Whoa.
So that's kind of early for that big fish, but that was a beautiful fish.
13 pounds. I don't even know what that would look like. That's a massive bass.
Like a grouper, but green.
True. And what was that bass caught on? Do you know? That 13-pounder?
We see a lot of 7-8 pound fish, and then once in a while somebody will pop up with a nice, fish like that one, or sometimes a little bigger, maybe up to 15.
Jeez.
So I've seen 2 last winter, 15 pounds.
A 7 and 8 pound bass is a massive fish, but a 13, 15, that's fish of a lifetime. Do you know what that 13 pounder was caught on?
On a booyah, lipless crankbait in the royalty color.
I should have known. Silly question.
Yes. It's amazing. People think I'm just making up. They may think I owned a company or something.
No, not at all.
It's a winner.
That's
and
awesome.
I tell you,
wow.
I go through them pretty heavy, and then people come from all over to buy them because they do well with them.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So,
I'm gonna have to try that
a lot of
inshore.
other things work well too, but that's one of the favorites.
What about the bass this time of year when it starts getting chilly? I think back to those college days chasing those bedding bass along the lakes of Orlando. Are they already starting to bed down, or
not
what?
Yet.
How does that work?
That's, again, temperature of the water, which I'm not exactly sure what the ideal temperature is, but as it gets colder, usually December, January, February is probably the most bedding season.
I gotcha. So it has to be really cold.
Use a lot of creature baits, use white. They hate white. They love to just grab a hold of that and go with it.
There you go.
Anything kind of flary is good to fish around the beds with because it's a threat to them.
Okay. The odd colors. So we're still not there yet.
A big worm works well. 12, 14-inch worm is like a snake, and a snake is a real threat to a bedding fish. So they like to kill them too.
Nice. All right. There's some secret tips.
Yeah.
What about your specs? What's your
mainly minnows. Minnows are the best. As it gets colder, a lot of jigs work well. Chartreuse, pinks, a lot of different flavors, different lakes. Everybody has their favorite kind of a jig, and just come out and fish them. You'll do well.
Practice makes perfect.
That's it.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, Ron, as always. How would someone find you over there at Ron's Tackle Box for a Booyah Royalty Purple lipless crankbait?
I'm at 380 South Lakeshore Way, which is 1792 in Lake Alfred. Phone number 863-956-4990. And, hey, do yourself a favor. Pick one of them up.
Yes, sir.
Go to your favorite tackle shop and tell them you need them. They'll get them in for you.
Nice. Well, we appreciate it, Ron, as always, our freshwater guru, bringing us back to the freshwater region. And thanks for saving us this morning.
Hey, you got it.
As always, thanks.
Stay straight.
Yeah, we'll try.
Right.
See you, buddy.
Have a good one.
See you, Ron. Always a pleasure. And we joke around with Ron, but Ron's Tackle Box over there in Lake Alfred has virtually everything you need and more. A lot of cool, like, historic lures.
Yeah,
and
I was going to
stuff.
mention that. He doesn't speak about that often, but a bunch of antique lures, collector's items, swap shop type stuff,
He's got it all. And he's not afraid to point you out to where the latest big bass was caught or where the hot bite is. So it's always great. I think that's kind of undersold in our industry and just in general is especially nowadays. Nowadays, I saw it this morning. I opened Facebook and I just moved down here to Tampa. I just joined Freedom Boat Club, and I want to know how to catch X fish. I don't know why people first idea is to turn to social media like that. That's a great tool, but go to a local tackle shop.
Local.
Yeah, a local tackle shop like Ron's Tackle Box, Gator Gyms, Southeastern, one of those tackle shops that has people working there that fish too, that are hooked on fishing, that are going to point you in the right direction and give you that local knowledge. And
gear selection, get you the right rod, reel, show you how to tie the knot versus videos are great, how-tos, but to have somebody standing next to you, tying the knot, showing you how to rig it. How to lots of people, I showed a guy the other day, how to hook a weedless soft plastic bait. He had no idea. He's like, well, the hook just kind of dangles out here and it catches on stuff. I'm like, no, you got to twist it back around, stick it up in there, you know? So, yeah, local is the key.
Local knowledge and smaller. The smaller the shop, the more kind of one-on-one experience you're going to get. And I love going over there to, like, at least in my area, for me, it's gator gyms or dogfish tackle. And I'm always trying to learn that PR bob and knot. I'll get it one day. I'm getting better at it, but definitely don't have it down. You have to ask the guys at Dogfish, hey, could you slow down?
Yeah.
Kind of turn towards me a little bit.
That's a heck of a knot, man.
It is. It is very tricky. And it's tough to do on the water, especially on the boat. But getting there, getting close at least, aspiring. One question we have on the Facebook live stream, we are streaming this morning's radio show to our Hubbard's Marina and Real Animals Facebook pages. One question that came through is kind of directed to you, Bobby.
Oh, yeah?
When does tarpon season start? I'll let you swing in on this one. This is your favorite.
So when does it end? The location in the state would be beneficial to know, but let's just say our region here. For me personally,
yeah, it's a Tampa Bay radio show, man.
I know. Me personally, March, late March, April, May, June. That's kind of the pre-spawn season, and then there's still fish around all the way up through September, October. I mean, I've caught them in November before here in Tampa Bay. So, but consistently April, May, June, July, August, September.
April, May, June, August, September. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I've always thought of tarpon season, and this is my ignorance because I don't really target them. I've always thought it as May, June, July, and then a little bit of August, and that's about it. But listening to you just basically said March through October.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, with consistency, you changed the tactics, the locations, the baits, but you've got a very distinct pre-spawn season. There's millions of fish, millions of boats, kind of like tarpon fishing in a barrel. Then after that, it gets a little bit trickier. The fish spread out, the boats spread out. You have to actually find the fish versus just look for the tower boats.
I got you.
But yeah, I mean, you can catch them consistently.
So that kind of peak spawn or pre-spawn kind of peak where they're super concentrated and a little easier to target for average Joe angler like myself who would go out and target a tarpon, you would say would be like May, June.
I would say April, last 2 weeks in April, all of May, first 2 weeks in June.
All right, way to be specific. I like it. All right. Well, there you go. That's as good an answer as you're going to get from the tarpon master, Fly 'em High Charters, literally named after tarpon. Business model kind of modeled after tarpon. So Bobby's ate up with it for sure. What's your favorite tarpon bait?
That's a tough one.
Stumped him.
I'll give you two.
Okay. Top two.
Live bait would be a blue crab or past crab, a small blue crab or past crab.
Small as in?
Small.
As in 2 inches?
As in like point to point across the back of the shell, like 2 to 3 fingers.
So like 1.5 inches?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I will share a secret.
Okay. Everybody be quiet.
I like even smaller.
Ooh.
I'll use them small enough that you can barely stick a hook in them.
Elephants do eat peanuts.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
So, and then from the artificial side, either a DOA bait buster or a DOA terrorize, like the small ones, the original ones. So it's harder to keep them buttoned up because the hook's so small and so thin.
Yeah.
But they will chew it.
Nice. So everything you just said was a lot smaller than I thought it would be. That's interesting. And that's even when they're all balled up like that, rolling through like by Egmont Key?
Yeah, that would, for me, that would typically be more of the live bait thing. The crab. The crab. Or pilchards or threadfin herring, depending upon where they're at and what they're doing. The artificial thing would be more of the post spawn, the later in the year, the August, September, October, back up in the backwaters, up in the harbors, up in Tampa Bay, up by McDill, some of the old traditional areas that I won't get too specific.
Okay. I was like, whoa, he's getting specific.
You know, that's
he backed off though. He saved it.
that's more of a sight casting thing.
Gotcha.
Trolling motor in the water. You know, kind of go around, find them, and you know, you're up on the bow with spinning tackle.
That's really interesting. Sight casting big tarpon with small baits in the upper bay. All right. Well, there you go. Tarpon season does go all year long. Now, one thing we want to mention as well, guys, I kind of alluded to it earlier, was some upcoming events. We do have the Gator Gyms Tackle at Gator Gyms Tackle Tuesday, November 1st. The Florida Guides Association is holding our Florida Guides Association annual meeting. And because of the recent events with Hurricane Ian, we've kind of changed the event. Instead of being guide focused and really for guides, this event is going to be open to the public, and it's going to be a Hurricane Ian benefit. So that's Tuesday, November 1st at 6 p.m. at Gator Gyms Tackle. It's going to be a great time. We got a lot of people coming there, guides from all over the state, people from FWC, NOAA, Gulf Council, the Southeast Regional Office, a lot of different people in fisheries science management, and law enforcement as well. So a lot of good people to ask questions, to network with, to talk to, a lot of captains from around the state, and then hopefully you as well. We're going to have lots of raffles, silent auctions.
Yep.
We're going to be accepting donation items. Bobby's going to be driving those down to Hurricane Ian affected areas. Bobby himself is a Hurricane Ian victim, having a house destroyed in Port Charlotte. You wouldn't tell by his award-winning smile. Nothing gets him down. His truck broke down this morning. He's still smiling.
It's life, man.
Yeah, got to keep it going, and he's a great example. But definitely check it out, Tuesday, November 1st, 6 p.m., and give us a call. You want to join the conversation, bring us a fishing report, 1-800-969-9352. We'll be right back after a short message.
Lithium batteries are taking the marine scene by storm, and nobody is doing it better than my good friends at Lithium.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to hook a tarpon on a bait that's that big.
Yeah,
it's like a little tiny, it's basically a brim hook, you know, in those little terror eyes, you know.
It's crazy, and I was thinking about that when you said that. The wire on those terrorized baits super thin.
Yeah, which your hookup is good, but keeping them hooked up, you know, that thinner wire, you know, goes through, you know, penetrates. But keeping them on, you got to back off drag a little bit. You can't fight them as hard as you can on.
Can't hardly fight them at all.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you'd be surprised. I mean, think about all the fish that are caught on barbless hooks. I mean, if you keep pressure on a fish, you know, even if the hook straightens out a little bit.
It's hard to keep pressure on a fish that's jumping. For me, saying, keep pressure on them when you're bottom fishing straight up and down is one thing.
Yeah.
You use barbless hooks all day. But when you got a tarpon that's jumping 6 feet in the air, shaking his head,
right,
using a barbless hook or keeping pressure is a lot harder.
Speaking of bottom fishing, I actually brought a rod. I want you to bow up on when we get done here today.
Ooh, one of your Captain Bobby customs.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you know, like nowadays everything is so the trend is going shorter, skinnier, and faster. You know, with everything. And these are, I think I told you about them. They were 8-foot blanks, but I extended them to 9 feet. And it's super slow. It's like an old school like Harnell or something. I mean, it's not a Harnell, obviously, but.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I like a long, slow rod when I'm fishing for big fish.
Yeah.
Like grouper, amberjack.
Yeah.
An 8-foot slower action rod. That's the move.
Yeah.
It doesn't beat you up.
No.
You hook an amberjack or a big gag on a short, fast action rod. You'll be bruised under your arm for a week.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny. Like I'm very technical, so like my inshore stuff, I just use off the shelf stuff. But for my tarpon stuff, it's so technical that, and it doesn't have to be. I just overcomplicate it, I think.
Yeah.
But I want what I want.
Yeah.
And nobody makes it, so you just have to make it yourself. Like my
folks, he makes his own rods. He makes his own boats. Bobby doesn't fish with anything anybody else makes. It's all Captain Bobby custom.
my spinning rods are actually super heavy duty bass, freshwater bass casting rods. They're 8.5 footers, one piece, 8.5 foot, for like fishing like California Delta with like big swim baits, for big largemouth. And I stripped them all down. I couldn't find a blank that I liked, action and weight, whatever. So I stripped them all down and rebuilt them as spinning rods. And they're great, dude. Again, like a little DOA terrorize. Cast that thing all day long.
8.5 foot?
8.5 footers.
Jeez.
And those conventionals,
Where do you store those?
That's 9.
On your ceiling?
Yeah, ceiling, yeah.
8.5 foot.
Yeah.
I like longer rods, but that's the catch.
Yeah.
So how do you transport them?
Right.
How do you store them?
Got it.
So, like 7.2, 7.6 fits in your truck bed most of the time.
Right.
Easy to put in your house. Fits in a rod holder. Anything more than that's tough.
A Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show, presented by Hubbard's Marina. Now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Sorry, guys. Just Dylan Hubbard this morning and my good friend Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly'em High Charters talking fishing for the Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show. Want to give a shout out to our friends over there at Affordable Roofing Systems. If you need a new roof or roof repair, make sure you check out our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems. They understand that your roof is a large investment and protects most everything you own. Let Affordable Roofing Systems' 3 decades of experience and roofing knowledge guide you through that important process. Whether you need a shingle, metal, tile, or flat roof, Affordable Roofing Systems is your safest choice for repairs and replacements. Affordable Roofing Systems is defined by integrity, respect, and honesty, and they have a personalized and professional approach to doing business. Call them today at 888-397-ROOF for your free estimate, or visit their website at affordableroofingflorida.com. Now, don't forget, you can join the conversation. Bring us your fishing question, report, or whatever to 1-800-969-9352. Again, 1-800-969-9352 if you want to bring us a question, report, or anything at all. Or if you just want to say hi to Bobby, whatever.
Hello.
Give us a call. And the first voice you'll hear will be our good buddy Derek on the other side of the glass, making us sound good this morning. And forgot to give him a shout at the beginning of the show. Sorry, Derek. But we are talking fishing this morning. We talked a little bit about the new moon coming up and how the weather looks really good this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to really make a good run at these fish. It's going to warm up nicely. Water temperatures are still going to be down. We're starting to get in that time of year where a lot of fish are on the move. The snook are moving back. Redfish are coming in. The mackerel are here. Hopefully the kingfish show up. And near shore, the hogfish, man. Hogfish.
You're killing me, man. We talked about this last time.
It's picking up. It's picking up, Bobby. It's that time of year. The hogfish are starting. We're starting to see more and more of them, and it's definitely only going to get better as that water temperature continues to come down. Those cold fronts start barraging the area. We mentioned it earlier in the show, how the cold fronts tend to congregate the fish at larger structures, and that's what brings those hogfish in from the cold. In the winter or in the summertime, they spread out over large areas of kind of more shell or sand bottom, and they spawn out and they live in these little groups, or what they call harems scientifically. It's like one male and a couple females, and they live out there in the summertime. They scavenge a little bit. They might come over some hard bottom, but for the most part, they're very spread out and kind of hard to target hook and line wise in the summer and warmer months. But this time of year, the bad weather, I don't know what it is, water temperature, length of day, whatever happens, it brings them back home to the ledges. They get concentrated, a little bit more aggressive, a little less leader shy. I think the water clarity helps them get a little less leader shy because it disappears in the water better. But it's that time of year for sure.
Sounds like they're the speckled perch of the sea.
That's a good point.
That whole life cycle and weather cycle that you just mentioned is very much like Ron was saying with the speckled perch.
And they're very much equatable in their table fare.
Delicacy.
I've never had speckled perch, but I hear the way Mike Anderson talks about it, and I see the way his eyes light up, kind of like how he talks about Waffle House. So I know it's got to be, at least in his opinion, good. So
I wish I had a picture of your eyes when they mentioned Marlin earlier.
My heart skipped a beat. Yeah, definitely an exciting time of year for sure. Lots of stuff going on, and Pompano showing up. Do you chase Pompano at all?
I don't. They're pretty much a bycatch, but I do love getting on some wintertime sheep's head fishing.
Oh, it's almost that time of year. I haven't really seen them yet. Are you seeing them concentrated
it's
yet?
a bit early.
Yeah, it is still a bit early. We saw a few, and I was like, oh, is it going to start popping off? But not quite yet. But they're around the corner.
Yeah.
The concentration of sheep's head. And it's funny, talking to inshore guides and being a little bit more connected on the inshore side of things through this radio show, talking to Mike all the time and the Florida Guides Association. It seems interesting to me, the same areas that you fish in the summertime for snapper are also your sheep's head spots, right?
No doubt. And we mentioned a similar thing last time I was here about the spring and fall correlation as well.
With what? Remind me about that.
Just with transitional species. You know, a traditional springtime spot is usually a good fall time spot, vice versa. Because you're catching them in transition.
I got you.
You know, so you know, from season to season. So same thing. Those rock piles and you know, rubble and bridge pilings and whatnot for the summertime snapper are wintertime sheep's head.
Nice. And if you slide off the side of it, maybe a flounder.
Absolutely.
You know what was interesting? We're running short on time, but mud minnows, the creek chubs, those are the secret flounder bait on the sides of those.
You hush your mouth.
Yeah, see? I knew it. I knew he'd get all upset. But, they work well offshore, too, creek chubs. So keep that in mind if you're heading out there. Don't forget, you could join the conversation as well, 1-800-969-9352 if you want to sneak in any more of Captain Bobby Woodard's secrets. Give us a call, bring us a fishing report, and we'll be right back after a short break.
Good tarpon bait too, man.
Really?
Yeah.
The mud minnows?
I don't
You know
use
you're
them.
still live on Facebook, right?
I do. Dude, there's no secrets, man. I don't use them much, but a lot of the old timers down there in Boca, they'll definitely use them.
Ooh. Dylan said the sheeps are everywhere at the oyster bars of Bay Pines. So they're starting to come out of the estuary.
Yeah. Dude, years ago, when I did a lot more wade fishing, there were some spots over in Fort DeSoto. In the wintertime, I'd go out there and wade for, trout, redfish, whatever. And I'd come across just certain potholes, and I never did figure out why they were there at that time, or what it was about that pothole that brought them there. But I just, mosey into a pothole, and there's just a school of sheep's head just chilling in a pothole.
Really?
I'm like, sweet.
Like a pothole in the grass
Yeah,
you're talking about?
yeah. Just like literally fishing in a barrel. I mean, just picking them off, one after one out of a pothole. And then, I'd go back a couple weeks later, they wouldn't be there, but they'd be, 100 yards down the flat in another pothole. But like when there's a school of 15, 20 sheep's head sitting in, gin clear pothole and a couple feet of water on the flats, it was pretty nuts.
Like trout.
Yeah.
Grouped up like trout. That's crazy.
I was showing a buddy of mine the other day that wahoo that you guys caught with Mahoney.
Oh, that was a massive.
That was just nuts, man.
Mistakes are mistakes. The teachers tell the students, be transparent, be honest, we all make mistakes. I'd like to hear what the actual mistake
On one, is that Conrad?
Orange County sheriffs responded to the incident and quickly determined the situation to be a false alarm. A man identified as the only suspect in the murder of Deborah Ann Hoff has committed
What'd that fish eat?
The wahoo?
Yeah.
A dead threadfin.
No shit.
Yeah, a dead threadfin 20-pound mono on a flatline rod.
What'd you have for leader?
20-pound mono.
Oh, just straight 20 pound.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh no, it was a kingfish rig.
Okay,
so it was
so
a
it had
little
like
stinger rig,
a
little piece of
bit
wire.
Yeah.
But dude, that fish, because at first we didn't know what it was, and it was Mahoney's trip, and he passed it off to one of his buddies, and I don't know how much that gentleman fished, but he was horsing this thing, and I'm like, dude, gotta finesse. And we had a lot of people on that boat who were super experienced fishermen.
Yeah.
Mahoney, we had man, what's his name?
The mustache dude looked like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, that's Captain. Man, his name escapes me right now. Everybody calls him Snapper Lips. He's TJ's or Mahoney's best friend. Forget his name. Dang, I'll remember it here in a second. But we had 7 captains on the boat, and no one was saying anything to him. I'm like, dude, stop horsing him. Just finesse him. Just steady crank when he gives you slack. And the rod went around. Everybody reeled on this fish.
That, yeah.
But dude, by the time I gaffed that fish and it hit the deck, the hook just
Did it really?
fell out. It was so bent.
Wow.
Like that treble hook we should not have landed that fish. It was crazy.
What is that constant pressure though? You know, they just.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
The barb was hanging on to a piece of skin. When it hit the deck, the hooks went flying out of the fish. It was crazy. But I'll never forget sticking that wahoo.
Yeah, that's a fish of a lifetime, dude.
Stuck him, and he didn't move.
Stone cold.
No, not Matt Clapp. The captain, Tommy Larange.
Okay.
Larange. That's it, Captain Tommy. He's a super experienced captain, but he really specializes in pelagics. That's kind of his thing. He spends a lot of time in the Keys and stuff, doing loop tournaments, running big sport fishing boats. And he was the one who put out the flatline. We were all ate up bottom fishing and focused on bottom fishing, but he casted out the flatline, and he was the one all over the boat. He was all fired up when we hooked that fish. I was still bottom fishing. I was like, all right, I'm not stopping bottom fishing for what I thought to be maybe a big kingfish or a wahoo. But the first run was pretty impressive, but I wasn't paying attention to it because the rod went off. It's a flatline rod. I'm like, I'm going to catch me another mangrove snapper because I just caught a nice big one. So I was just focused on bottom fishing. And then after we were fighting this fish for like 15 minutes, I'm like, all right, this is a bigger fish. And they kept yelling at me to reel up because they were worried the fish was going to come back.
Get the rods out of the way, get the rods out of the way.
And I'm still fishing. But I was keeping my eye on where the line was.
Yeah.
But after a little while, I was like, all right, this is a big fish. I'll reel up and get out of the way.
That's a cool looking boat, man.
It's a beautiful boat. I love the Flying Hub too. It's a special ride. The only problem is it's so weather dependent, and it's so different from everything else we do.
Yeah.
Because like a party boat, you can go out 4-foot seas, no big deal. Slow, stable. And that creates a lot of problems for us because you'll have someone who is used to coming and doing our 39-hour trips, and they can come in from Michigan and plan a vacation and know that they're going to go fishing when they're here on a 39.
And then when you cancel on that, and they're like, well, we've been out and worse than that with you before.
Exactly. And then the next time they come into town, they want to try a different trip, so they book the extreme trip, and they fly in from wherever they're from, and they're upset that we canceled the extreme trip. And like some people, I've been trying to come for 3 years. Like a gentleman the other day was super upset. You canceled on me 7 times. I don't cancel trips. The weather cancels trips. And
I don't make money if I cancel, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. The party boat is a trip that you can count on.
Right.
If you're coming into town for a short period, book a party boat trip. But that's a special boat.
Your weekly voyage into Florida fishing. Presented by Hubbard's Marina. Hosted by Captain Mike Anderson and Captain Dylan Hubbard.
Good morning. on this cool Saturday. It's Captain Dylan Hubbard from Hubbard's Marina. We got Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly 'em High Charters in studio this morning for the Bartow Ford Real Animals radio show on News Radio 970 WFLA here in the beautiful iHeartMedia Empire. We are chatting fishing and answering questions and having a good time this morning. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Hopefully you didn't just join us. Hopefully you've been awake and you're preparing your boat to go fishing this week, taking advantage of that nice little weather window we have at the beginning of the week. We're on that new moon, a lot of moving water, a lot of moving bait, and a lot of moving fish. Remember, you can join the conversation. Join us by giving us a shout. Bring your fishing question report at 1-800-969-9352. If you have a question report or just want to say hello, you can always join us. And speaking of, we've got our good buddy, Captain Jim Fogel here. How you doing this morning, Captain Jim?
I'm doing well, Captain Dillard. You and Captain Bobby having a good time in there this morning?
Always a good time.
Always a pleasure. And it's been extra fun this morning for sure.
Yeah. Hey, this morning I want to just touch on something about legal liability of guests on your boat. Now, remember, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not trying to take Butler and Boyd's place. I'm just about this. You know, when a guest steps aboard your boat, the typical boat owner is probably more likely to be thinking about having lunch or getting underway and what they're going to catch or how the bait is and this and that, more so than worrying about legal duties and responsibilities as master of the vessel. But if that guest were to stumble and or be injured, you can bet the boat owner is going to quickly ponder what, if anything, could have been done to have prevented the injury, and heaven forbid whether or not he might be liable. As I understand it, admiralty law, like land-based legal concepts, starts with a premise that a property owner owes his invited guest a duty to exercise ordinary or reasonable care for the safety of that guest. Now, the guest also has some responsibility, to take care of himself to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
The guest can't just simply walk around blindly around the boat without holding on to something and things like that. Sitting on the side of the gunwale when he should be sitting in a seat or something. But reasonable care does mean that you may be held accountable if you fail to warn a guest, for example, about a ladder or a rail that might be unstable or loose or something like that. That's one of the primary reasons we give boat guests and even crew members sometimes a pre-voyage briefing.
Mm-hmm.
We remind them about boat wakes, about the three-point stance, and the fact that they should stay in the seat as often as possible if the boat is moving. And you know yourself, boats are not inherently stable. There's that wake or that weird wave that pops up when you're sitting there at anchor that you have no idea where it came from or why it happens to be 4 or 5 feet higher than the rest of them, But they do happen sometimes, so you want to always err on giving a warning if you could. Be bold with caution. Never be shy about giving a warning out, even if you think the other people saw what's coming or what's going on. You just want to always be careful and, err on the side of caution.
I think
one of the primary reasons we give a briefing.
I think
right now.
You just coined your own motto there, Captain Jim. Be bold with caution. I love it.
All right, good. All right, guys, you keep up the good work for the Coast Guard Auxiliary in St. Pete. It's Jim Fogel. Be safe out there.
Hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it as always.
Thank you, Cap.
Thank you, Jim. Always a good idea to be bold with caution.
Yeah,
he just coined it.
I like that.
I think that's it. Definitely appreciative of our Milwaukee Tools Safe Boating Tip of the Week, brought to you by none other than the legend himself, Captain Jim Fogel. reminding you to be bold with caution.
Yeah, I like that. And it actually got me thinking. I put myself in your shoes for a second. Obviously
that's all I think about. That's literally all I think about.
Obviously,
liability.
we all do, pre-departure, hey, flares are here, life jacket here, first aid kit, all that stuff. But I mean, I'm doing it with 2 to 6 people on board.
Mm-hmm.
To a boat of your size and a crew of your size.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
Yeah, liability is how I start and end my day for sure. We actually do 2 pre-boarding or 2 pre-fishing seminars, I guess you could say. We do a pre-boarding seminar before anybody loads up on the boat, and then on the ride, or actually, I guess you could say we do 3, because we do a pre-boarding seminar before you get on the boat. Then once everybody's on the boat, before we pull off the dock, the captain does one over the PA with some more information. And then before we start fishing, the crew will do kind of a fishing safety seminar as well. So
heavyweight, sharp hook.
And then we have a ticket that we hand you that the back of it has more information. So nice. I guess you could say we do it 4 times.
There you go.
But it still doesn't protect you. It still doesn't help. So you can do everything in your power, and it I think Captain Jim hit the nail on the head. It's ultimately up to the angler too. You have to be responsible for yourself on the water and make sure you're being safe, along with, of course, the master of the vessel and the captain, the crew, everybody. It's a team effort. And you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Truth.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. We got Conrad, I think, in St. Pete here. Good morning. What do you got for us this morning?
Well, I'm wondering what all them telephone poles are out on Gandy. What is that for?
I wondered the same thing myself when I was cruising down Gandy. But one of our listeners actually filled us in. It was Donald Waberman filled us in. That was actually an attempt by the county. So Pinellas County made the decision to put those in. And the idea was to cut down on vehicles and individuals harming the mangroves. And also, it was a response to the trash. So we all know what happened in COVID. Everybody and their brother went outside and bought boats, canoes, kayaks, jet skis, and everybody was using the beaches. And ever since that time, I guess there's been a really exponential increase in the amount of trash going in the water along Gandy Beach. So there on the west side of the Gandy Bridge, those little beachy areas have been kind of lined with the telephone poles or pilings, and they're short, but the idea is it's to keep vehicles and a majority of people out of the mangroves. You can still park on the road side of them, and you can still walk past them to the mangroves or through the mangroves, but it's just to kind of keep the vehicles out of there, to my knowledge. And there's still a lot of area you can still access the beach, but that's why I was told that they were put in. It was a Pinellas County decision for that reason, to cut down on vehicles in the mangroves and also the trash.
And I'm 70 years old, so do I ever have to have anything to go fishing?
So that's a great question. So to an important topic that comes up quite a bit is the fact that Florida residents, as long as you're a Florida resident, age 65 and above or 16 and below, you do not need a fishing license. But what you do need is the addendums, like I believe a snook stamp,
a shore-based license, the free shore-based one.
If you're a shark fisherman, the free shore-based shark fishing license. And offshore, if you want to target reef fish, grouper, snapper, amberjack, any sort of reef fish, you need a state reef fish endorsement. Now, most of those are either free or just a few dollars. Like I think a snook stamp's just a couple bucks.
Yeah.
But you have to get those each year and attach those to in your case, just a free fishing license. Whereas in my case, I would have to buy a fishing license and then get those free endorsements tied to my fishing license. But you being, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just saying, you being over the age of 65 and all your experience, you wouldn't need to pay for your fishing license. You would just need to get those free endorsements. if that answers.
And after listening to your friend about that liability thing,
Yeah.
I think I got a solution.
Okay.
I don't have a boat.
Yeah.
But I am a person of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I'd do is if I ever got a boat,
Mm-hmm.
to relieve myself of that liability, I would take a little bit of extra gas with me and a cinder block. And if I was worried about anybody suing me when I got back, I just tie the cinder block to them and throw them overboard, and there would be no liability.
Epic. Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate the phone call this morning, and thank you for that entertainment.
Okay, well, I have a nickname, too.
Okay, go for it.
Sometimes I call into the radio station, and they know me as the Rubber Cement Man.
All right.
So if anybody's, I call into some sports shows every now and then.
I got you.
But I like to fish too.
There you go.
So I hope you all have a nice day, and I hope that you all don't get any liability. Well, just remember, if you see a cinder block on somebody's boat,
you know what the deal is.
You're going to sue them.
Well, we appreciate the phone call, Mr. Rubber Cement. Very entertaining this morning. And that now we know. If you see a cinder block, entertainment purposes only, folks. That's what that was about.
On that liability topic, I can't condone the whole cinder block thing. Captain Bobby Woodard does not condone tying cinder blocks to people and tossing them overboard. It's on the record.
We want to make sure and I just said it's entertainment purposes only.
However, call back next week and see what Captain Mike thinks.
Yeah, or Mahoney on tomorrow's show, Real Animals Radio on Sunday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on WDAE. Mahoney might tell you something different. Remember, you can join the conversation at 1-800-969-9352. Bring us your fishing reports, questions. Real Animals Radio will be right back. Hilarious.
Hey, Jim, what are we fishing for today? Oh, what's that? Oh, cinder block and some rope? I'm good. Let me know how it goes.
Andy said gas. What does he do with the gas? He's going to light you on fire before he throws you in the water.
Yeah, torture you first, man. Get you nice and crispy for all the sharks.
Oh, that was awesome. I was like, where's he going with this?
Yeah, I was trying to kind of think ahead and place that together as well.
Epic. You just never know.
Yeah. It's funny, I was about to say, I've talked to a bunch of younger guys. It's funny for me to say the word younger because I don't consider myself old, but who don't understand, even if they're not like actively guiding, but they have, their endorsement and their credential, and they're out fishing with buddies. I'm like, you're the master of that vessel.
Yeah.
Like
that's real.
You got to understand, like there's a I'm cool on Instagram because I'm a licensed captain, or no, I'm a professional licensed captain. Like this is a legit thing, and you're held to a higher standard. Right.
It's like having a CDL and driving down the road.
Yep.
When you're on a boat and you have a captain's license, even if you're not driving, if something dumb happens.
Even if you don't own the boat.
Yeah.
Like you're just a guest on somebody else's boat.
You're going to be liable.
Yep.
Or at least your credential is going to be at risk.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to have to do some reporting and talking to somebody.
Mm-hmm. Lee Starling. You know who that is?
Yeah. So I took a peek at that.
Yeah.
That question.
Cat Bobby looking sexy.
That question about tarpon season. That's Anna.
Oh, that is.
Yeah.
She got us, huh?
Yeah.
Didn't she do that? Well, she called in one time and asked a really good question like that.
Did she?
Didn't she the first time? No, the first time.
Oh no, when she was here, that was.
Yeah, that was Travis. Yeah. When I had Travis as a guest, his better half did the same thing.
That's funny.
Well, it was a good question. Led to a good conversation.
Dude, what about Travis, man? That dude's legit.
Yeah, super. Captain Travis Thompson, he's the man.
Yeah.
It was really cool, too, because when you said his name, I didn't realize who he was. But then once I called him and he said yes, and I looked him up, I'm like, oh, it's that guy.
Yeah, I think y'all had lunch or something.
We did.
Yeah.
I went to my first FWC meeting and was kind of lost.
Yeah.
Didn't really know my way around. I didn't know how state meetings work. I was super knowledgeable on the federal side and how that all works, but I didn't know how state meetings worked. I didn't even know how to sign up to speak.
Yeah.
I was like super confused and lost, and it was somewhat close by, and there was something going on federally that I wanted to be there at the FWC level to see what the conversation was, and that's where we met. And he was like, "Hey, you want to go to lunch?" And I was like, "Sure." I didn't know him at all, but
Yeah.
He's super cool, super intelligent.
Yeah.
Your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Sorry, guys. I feel like every time we come back in, I have to apologize. No Captain Mike this morning. We miss him. I miss him. But it's Captain Dylan Hubbard from Hubbard's Marina. We got Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly 'em High Charters here this morning. We're chatting fishing and talking about all things fall and winter, including pumpkin spice lattes and Ugg boots.
Nice.
Captain Bobby was picturing me wearing Ugg boots earlier, I think. It's kind of strange. But, hey, fishing. We are excited. It's a time of year. A lot of things are moving around. We got the new moon going on. A lot of water moving, a lot of bait flushing. We talked about snook, redfish, trout, flounder, mackerel, kingfish, pompano. And now I want to talk a little bit about what else can we find this time of year. What's the other hot bite? I mean, we've seen a lot of black drum recently.
Have you?
A lot around the dock, bridge, jetty. The other day, I must have gotten 6 photos of black drum caught on the jetty, which is kind of strange. I feel like they must be moving onto the beach, maybe? Because they kind of do that in the wintertime. I remember as a kid, we were surfing, I think it was like Sunset Beach or something, and literally the board was vibrating, one of those early season cold fronts. Water was muddy as heck, and the board was vibrating because of the amount of drum underneath grunting. And my dad and my cousin experienced the same thing on the East Coast one time in that muddy water. And it's really strange occurrence. But I think they must get out on the beach and spawn this time of year. I don't know.
They must be. I mean, that's interesting to me. I don't target black drum much, other than like springtime around Clam Bar, Dick Meisner, like the areas everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do the summertime up bridges up in the bay with the half a blue crab. I don't do that kind of thing.
So summertime they're on the bridges. Spring they're on the oyster bars.
Yeah,
and it seems like winter they must be out on the beach.
I guess. Yeah.
I know we don't target them really in Tampa Bay. I don't know anybody who's like, I'm going to go black drum fishing today. But, dude, in Texas and up into Louisiana, that's a big fishery.
Dude, we need a $3,500 PSAT tag on some black drum and, track them.
Oh, that's a good idea. Some SAT tags.
Yeah.
Learn the life history. We need that on a lot of fish, Bobby.
True.
We need more science on a lot of fish. But great point. Yeah, it'd be interesting to figure out. But they're good eating. A small black drum.
I've heard that.
Really good eating.
Yeah.
And like I said, Texas, it's a big fishery into Louisiana. And like when the blackened redfish craze became a thing, and now it's a little bit harder and the redfish are more expensive, they started doing it with black drum. And now it's a big thing because you can get blackened redfish for like $25-$30, so you can get blackened black drum for $12. And it's crazy good. Really, really good. In my federal travels, that's one thing I like to indulge in is food from around the Gulf Coast.
And what is it, Boudin?
Boudin. Don't get me started on Boudin. You get out of here with that. Oh, now I'm hungry. All right, Glenn from Brandon is on the line. Remember, you can join the conversation too at 1-800-969-9352. But Glenn from Brandon has a question for us. How you doing this morning, Glenn?
Good morning, Glenn.
Both of you. Captain, the only thing that I had last week
Yeah.
when Mr. Mahoney was on, he would put you to sleep talking on the radio. I'm serious. I had to get 2 or 3 more cups of coffee just to listen to the whole program. I don't know.
Oh, man. Well,
I'm glad you guys are back.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Like that, would put you to sleep. You guys talk more about fishing than he ever did.
Yeah. Well,
I think.
Well, we appreciate the compliment.
Appreciate you and Mike and Bobby there today.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Mike's not there. It's more interesting when you two are gone there.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much for the compliment, Glenn.
You take care.
All right, see you, buddy.
Be safe.
Thank you. Well, I can't talk too badly about Mahoney. He got us out of a tough spot last week. I had to be in Maine for a fisheries meeting. I was up in Maine for the National Resource Education Program steering committee, the National Steering Committee. So I was gone. Couldn't be here, and Capt. Mike couldn't be here either. So Mahoney stepped in and kind of saved the day for us and was able to make it possible to have a show last week. So
Mahoney's a good dude. We're
really good dude.
We're all unique in our own ways.
Yes, he is very unique, and he does have a very smooth, sultry voice. And he's got a face for radio.
Oh, yes, he does.
And a beard for it, too. But we appreciate the compliment. Thank you very much, Glenn. And we try to keep it fishing focused. Sometimes we get a little off rails, but for the most part, we're fishing focused.
So, question.
Yeah.
Maine.
Yeah.
Giant bluefin tuna.
Yeah. That's real.
Yeah.
Dude, the fishery in Maine is so crazy. I was talking to someone, like, in the Gulf of Mexico, our largest possible quota is 16 million pounds for red snapper. And we all think the Gulf is so cool, and we catch so many fish, and we're bad to the bone. I was talking to someone up there. They caught 60.2 million pounds of fish last year in their fishing season. That was 52 days long. 52 days, 60 million pounds. Aren't that's one family of fishing boats. Our entire Gulf quota for our largest quota is 15 million pounds.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Yeah, exponential. I was talking to another guy who caught 1.2 million pounds in a day. Yeah, it was an incredible trip. Really, really learned a lot, and it opens your eyes seeing those other fisheries. But Real Animals Radio, Bartow Ford Real Animals Radio Show. We'll be back very shortly. Don't forget, you can call us and join the conversation. 1-800-969-9352. If you have comments, questions, fishing reports, give us a shout. We got about 30 minutes left in the show. Hope to hear from you. We'll be right back. Yeah, that trip was really eye-opening. So many cool things. But I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Make this quick. I might die.
For the first time since the pandemic, Fantasy Fest returns for a full 10 days in Key West. The annual fall festival is the Key's biggest event, pumping some $40 million into the local economy.
Due to the COVID pandemic, this will be the first full Fantasy Fest since 2019. So, of course, we're very excited.
Spokesman Steve Robbins says Fantasy Fest typically draws a crowd of 60,000. Drivers on Interstate 4 will have a new way to avoid traffic jams near Orlando. Florida transportation officials opened an off-ramp connecting commuters to the new Wakebia Parkway on Friday. This will allow drivers to go from Seminole County to Osceola County while bypassing I-4. Officials say they expect the entire project to be completed next year. Florida's unemployment rate in September was 2.5%, down 0.2% from August. The U.S. unemployment rate was 3.5% in September. With Florida's news, I'm Tim Atkins.
WFLA News is brought to you by the Holland Group Retirement Wealth Advisors.
From the Moss Nissan Traffic Center, seems like a pretty smooth traffic flow at this time on the major highways and roads, including I-75, I-4, and north and southbound lanes of I-275. This report is sponsored by Audible. This fall, find everything you love listening to on Audible, from memoirs and true crime to celebrities and sci-fi. Audible is the world of storytelling. Audiobooks, podcasts.
That was good. I was overflowing. was cold up there, though.
Yeah.
And rainy. Rained for like 36 hours straight.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I flew in Wednesday. Wednesday night was cold but nice. Thursday was beautiful, but then Thursday night it started spitting rain. It rained Thursday night through Saturday morning.
Is it like a Seattle rain, like a cold, dark, like drizzly rain, or like a rain?
Cold, dark, drizzly rain.
Yeah.
Just spitting rain.
Yeah.
It was treacherous. It was freezing cold. And the first night, it wasn't supposed to rain Thursday night. It was supposed to rain Friday morning. So Thursday night, I just had like a flannel on and a T-shirt. And we had to walk like 3 miles. I was frozen.
Yeah, that's a bucket list trip for me to get up. What, Maine, PEI, wherever, just somewhere up and then
Gloucester.
Yeah.
I want to fish out of Gloucester.
Yeah, that'd be cool just because of the tradition. And yeah, that'd be super cool.
But I agree. That's all I could think about the whole time I was there. And all those boats look the same, They all look like they're just out there killing
down
tuna.
east boats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I'm supposed to ask you. Any suggestions? So we're building that Morgan, and we've got stringers done, getting ready to do deck stuff, but we've got a brand new Volvo diesel in the crate. Called around to all the local Volvo dealers, Volvo Marine dealers. None of them will touch the install. They're like, nope, you didn't buy it from us. So do you know anybody that's good with inboards that would, we could just take it to a yard somewhere and have them install it, hook it up, do the initial fire up, all that kind of stuff?
I know a lot of yards, but they do a lot of bigger boats. I don't know.
I called Mastery yesterday. I know they're not Volvo, but I called Mastery, left a message. So maybe,
They used to do Volvo Penta.
Did they?
Yeah. I would call like Anclote Diesel. That's one we work with all the time. ADR systems. If they don't do it themselves, they'll know somebody.
Yeah.
But I after the show, we can call Capt Chris. He knows everybody.
Okay.
He's been our fleet supervisor for almost as long as I've been alive.
Oh, wow.
And that dude knows. If they work on an engine, he knows them.
So he knows Ron the Crane Man, too.
Oh, he knows everybody. He came in the shop 2 days ago. Yeah. I met him in person.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, super nice guy. Groom stolen wedding suit returned. Porch monkeys stealing packages. Crazy, man.
Yeah.
I love those. What's that guy? Roper. I forget his first name, but he's on YouTube. He's a scientist, and he's really Mark Roper. That's his name. He's on YouTube, and his YouTube videos are like science experiments. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
But they're like entertaining science experiments. And this time of year, around the holidays, he does packages, and he'll purposely put them out to be stolen. And they've got cell phones in them, tracking chips. It's a glitter bomb. It's got fart spray in it. They're great commercials. And he kind of walks through how he engineered the box and how it's built. And it's really interesting.
I saw one time. This guy had it rigged to where when the box moved, it had like a small little string going to like a mouse trap, and the mouse trap had a 12-gauge shotgun blank, so it hit the primer and oh shit.
That's a good one.
Captains Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
We're back. Captain Dylan Hubbard here for Bartow Ford Real Animals radio show this morning. We've got Captain Bobby Woodard from Fly'em High Charters in studio this morning. We are chatting fishing. We're on our last big segment of the morning. If you want to give us a call, join us with a fishing question, report, anything at all, 1-800-969-9352. Also want to give a shout out to our friends over there at Affordable Roofing Systems. If you need a new roof or roof repair, don't forget to check out our friends at Affordable Roofing Systems. They understand that your roof is a large investment and that protects most everything you own, Let Affordable Roofing Systems' 3 decades of experience and roofing knowledge guide you through that important process. Whether you need a shingle, metal, tile, or flat roof, Affordable Roofing is your safest choice for repairs or replacements. Affordable Roofing is defined by integrity, respect, and honesty, and they have a personalized, professional approach to doing business. Call them today at 888-397-ROOF for a free estimate, or visit their website, affordableroofingflorida.com. Also, want to make sure we reiterate again, November 1st, 6 p.m., Gator Gyms. Don't miss out on the Florida Guides Association annual meeting. This is open to the public. It is a Hurricane Ian benefit. We're going to be raising money for people affected by Hurricane Ian, with an emphasis on these funds going to people in the fishing industry, fishing captains, guides who were affected by Hurricane Ian. And the idea is to get people back on the water, get them fishing as quickly as possible, and people affected by Hurricane Ian, and hopefully get fishing in Southwest Florida back up and running and online as quick as possible. It's definitely pretty amazing what they went through. And you yourself, Bobby, I mean, you wouldn't know looking at you, talking to you, but I mean, you lost a home in this event. Don't forget to turn on your mic, Bobby.
Yeah, we had quite a bit of damage, but life goes on. I try to be a duck,
Yeah.
Above the surface, calm. Below the surface, chaos.
Yeah, paddling as fast as you can.
Yeah,
that's a great way of doing it, and I think we all are. You gotta put on a brave front, and you do it really, really well.
Well, thank you.
And we forgot Jack Wagon of the Week. Capt Mike is not here. Capt Mike Anderson is not here, but we will continue his segment.
Yes.
Jack Wagon of the Week. And Bobby came into the studio fired up this morning. He's got one, so I'll let you roll with it, Bobby.
You put me on the spot. I forgot. What was I fired up about?
Auto industry.
Oh, auto industry. Yes. Jack Wagons of the Week. Why do pickup trucks cost more than entry-level housing?
It's crazy.
I mean, I shopped around and found some good deals, but a new truck is more than 2 homes that I own.
That's crazy.
It's just nuts, man.
Well, you also bought really good deals on your home.
I bought really good deals. They were investment properties. They had to be fixed up, yada, yada. But still, I don't know why trucks cost what they cost.
Yeah, it is insane. So the price of trucks in the auto industry is Jack
Wagons of the Week.
But not our friends at Bartow Ford. They're great people.
Those guys rock. Benny Robles is a good dude.
Fishing fools for sure.
Yes.
But it is crazy. Truck pricing, not that it's their fault, but it is insane. Pricing of everything, really.
Everything.
The Jack Wagon of the Week is inflation.
And we won't go down that rabbit hole any farther.
We're going to stop there. But JC in Reddington Shores has called in and luckily is on the line to save us. How are you doing this morning, JC?
Thank you.
I'm doing well. Hope you guys are doing well, too.
Yes, sir. We
Fabulous.
are. You called at the perfect time. What's up, buddy?
Hey, I do want to give a quick plug to T.A. Mahoney's guys. They've always been real helpful when I go in their store.
Super awesome.
And they've offered me very good advice, and fortunately I took it.
Good.
But last weekend we went out looking for some kingfish off of the beach, trolling around, found some birds, saw the frigate birds diving, saw the splashing on the surface, saw some dolphins shooting through there, thinking we're getting around some kings. And we're trolling plugs, deep lip plugs, and what do we come up with but a pair of red bulls?
Oh,
nice.
That'll happen.
And it was fun to get on them. Just decided that wasn't the way to catch them and to leave them alone. But, man, that was cool when they came up.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely will run into that offshore this time of year. You see the birds, you see a lot of action on the surface. You run over there expecting it to be a bunch of mackerel and some big kingfish. But, yeah, those schools of big breeder bull reds are out there pretty active right now. That's pretty cool. You got to experience it. Water surface was like all Russian red, right?
Well, where we were, we couldn't really see the color so much. It wasn't that we spotted that. It was we just saw the activity and the splashing, and I know I've heard of that. I've had a friend that's had the opportunity to experience it, but we were in probably 20, 25 feet of water. But awesome. I really didn't get the visual, unfortunately, but we got the action, so that was fun.
Yeah.
Very, very ethical decision, by the way, to catch a few, have fun, and move on. So, we certainly appreciate that from a conservation standpoint.
Yeah.
No worries. But thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in. That's a great story, and I'm glad you got to experience that. It's definitely a one-in-a-lifetime experience. So congrats, JC, and good luck out there. Hopefully you and I both will find the kingfish here soon. It's been a challenge. Tie lines, JC. Thanks for calling in, bud. See it. Yeah, the kingfish have been tough. We haven't seen them. We got excited, like I said earlier in the show. We got excited behind Ian. We caught one. We were expecting more to show up. Water warmed up. Didn't really happen. Then we got our first big cold front of the year just recently, this midweek last week, and we were hoping to get them behind that front. Haven't seen them yet. So,
are you hearing anything from like Panhandle guys or?
No, they haven't passed us yet, which is good news.
Good, yeah.
But I don't know. I keep cruising through Tampa Bay Fishing Club and Tampa Offshore Fishing and some of those fishing pages, hoping to see some kingfish trickling in, especially guys like Glenn Taylor who are really dialed into it, Scott Moore, that really keep their eyes and ears on it and their thumb on the pulse. And I haven't even seen them posting any real big kingfish. Once Glenn Taylor is posting kingfish for like 2 weeks, then everybody else starts catching them.
That means he's been catching them for 2 months. You know that, right?
Probably. Yeah, he definitely has the thumb on the pulse of the pelagic fishery, and a lot of unique fisheries, permit, that kind of thing. Great guy. Fishy cat, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are, again, I think we were talking about it and then got derailed. November 1st. 6 p.m. Gator Gyms. Bobby and I both will be there. And you can come hang out with us. Maybe win a free charter trip with Captain Bobby.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're giving away a tarpon trip, right?
I am, yes. A 4-hour tarpon trip for up to 4 people down in the beautiful Boca Grande area.
You can win it in a raffle, silent auction. We got lots of Hubbard's Marina trips being raffled off. We got a hunt with the man himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Captain Travis Thompson. A bunch of other Big Bend. Captain TJ Saunders is also giving away a tarpon trip. There's a trip with Captain Jason Prito involved there. There's a bunch of really cool things you could win and spend a good time having some free food, free drinks, and raising money for those affected by Hurricane Ian. So we hope to see you November 1st at 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Gator Gyms.
Gator Gyms.
Be there or be square.
Yeah. Be there or cinder block.
and we actually will have some, just real quick, some links posted to our various social media sites as well. If you're not able to make the event, but you would like to donate and help the cause, we will certainly have that function available here shortly. Yeah,
the Florida Guides Association social medias, you'll be able to join the event in person, take part of the raffle silent auction to help raise money for Hurricane Ian relief, or you can just, if you can't make it, like Bobby said, check out some of those links that we'll have to our PayPal, Venmo, Cash App on the FGA pages. And then also you could show up and bring items too. If you got something sitting in your garage, like a big tarp or a tire patch kit or something that would help those down there, we're also going to be collecting donation items. And Captain Bobby himself is volunteered to shuttle that stuff down south for us. So really, really cool opportunity to get involved in a bunch of different ways, whether it's raffles, silent auctions, donating funds, donating items, or just volunteering to help load Bobby's trailer after the event.
Yeah, for sure. Come on out, say hey, and we'll put you to work.
Yeah, it'll be a good time for sure. November 1st, 6 p.m., Tuesday night, Gator Gyms Tackle. Definitely don't miss out. Let's see. Do we have any questions coming over the stream? I don't see anything yet. Oh, Carl said if you sink a person to 166 feet or deeper, they don't come back up. entertainment purposes only. But the cinder
duly
block
noted.
thing, the cinder block thing is very pervasive this morning. That was a hit.
I feel like that would be a Sunday show topic.
Yes. I feel like they called on the wrong morning, but I like it. I like it a lot. Very entertaining. And we are at the new moon. So new moon, I think Mike always says full moon outgoing, new moon incoming, right?
Bingo.
That's it. All right. So that's a pervasive school of thought, or you just remember what Mike says all the time?
I mean, there's a reason to listen to him.
That's true. No, I agree.
But yeah,
I'm not doubting him.
But that's
he's not here. I can't pick on him when he's not here. When he's here, we have this playful back and forth.
Right. But no, that's my general rule of thumb as well.
Yeah. New moon incoming.
Yeah, seems to work well over the years.
All right. So it's a new moon. So incoming tide, new moon is Tuesday. Docklight fishing too. That's one of my favorite things.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah. As far as my inshore fishing repertoire, it definitely docklight fishing was at the top of it. When I got my boat when I was about 8-9 years old, that's all I did. Staying up all night because it was a way my parents would let me stay out late. And I was only allowed in a certain geographical area. But, I would stay out almost all night chasing redfish, snook, and even tarpon, late season tarpon this time of year on docklights, certain docklights, and even triple tail occasionally, especially once you get closer to passes. Blinds Pass was always my favorite haunt for docklight fishing. A lot of good docks and lights in there, and even as you approach like Terra Verde, Pinellas Point area around the Bayway Bridge, at least the old Bayway Bridge, some good areas in there too.
No, that area is horrible.
Don't go there. Don't go there. Avoid that area, Bobby says, which means that's the first place you should check. By the way,
but yeah, docklight fishing, man. I run a fairly large bay boat, so I'm not getting super skinny up on the flats. You know, doing the traditional sight fishing stuff. So I love it because it adds that aspect of it. You know, the sight fishing, cruise up with your trolling motor and see what's there and start picking them off.
Yeah, it's a really fun way to sight fish. And a lot of times what you got to remember, especially docklight fishing, is some of the biggest fish are the ones you can't sight. Yeah, the ones you can't sight fish, the ones you can't see. Yeah, it's always funny. You roll up on a light and it's chock full of bait and the bait's spooking, but you can't see any predatory fish. They're always hanging back in the shadows. Yeah, learned that at a young age. But docklight fishing, you know what my favorite bait was? The ballyhoo, the needlefish.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Killer. Insta-bite bait. It was nuts. It's very hard to get them.
It's a great fly, too. Like a needlefish fly.
Now,
if you want to
now you're speaking a different language.
Dude, fly fishing docklights is amazing.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. My friend at Bass Pro does that a lot, but I couldn't pull it off. I'm not that coordinated. We're going to be right back. We got another short segment before the end of the show. Definitely stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. Real Animals Radio will be right back.
We'd sometimes even tow the boat. Buddy mine had a little flats boat.
Yeah.
And another buddy had a little J16 Carolina.
Oh, those are cool boats.
Dude, lots of times we'd tow them to school, man, and park out in the side, end of the parking lot, get out of school, head over here, catch bait, fish, till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, go back home. And that's how I got into the fly fishing thing. Cause like we would always bring a fly rod, but we would never use it because we had spinning tackle, and we'd pull up and we'd start catching fish. So you don't want to stop catching fish. You don't want to put down a spin rod. And finally one day we were like, dude, fly only. Like, we're going to force ourselves to actually do this.
Yeah.
And it was a blast, man. We started doing that so often after that. So much fun.
That's cool.
You don't have to be a precision caster. It's not like you're trying to catch a permit 60 feet away and land your fly in it. You know what I mean? You got a dock.
You have to be a precision caster. Get out of here. You're casting at a dock.
But, bro, so there's a dock with a light. There's a shadow up current. There's a shadow down current. There's no structure or anything up here in the shadows. Throw it out there as it's drifting with the current. Just kind of strip it in a little bit and kind of play with mend your line.
I gotcha.
You're not having to put it on their nose.
See, that's the thing is manage my line. I'd tangle my feet up and I'd hook a fish. Get pulled in the water. I would cinder block myself.
Yeah, but you're like 6'7". Just stand up.
Yeah, fly fishing is really cool. I like the idea of it, and I would love to learn how to do it. But I just, that's one thing I haven't done yet. It's interesting, though.
Yeah, and it's close. I mean, so
Mhm.
so you're casting, from here to the front door, maybe the longest cast. So you're not having to make that big spooky flats fish cast.
Yeah, it makes it a little easier.
Yeah, for sure.
I was watching the guys over there at Chris Whitman from Captains for Clean Water and Josh Greer, who's out of Port Charlotte.
Yep.
Both big time fly.
I need to hook up
fishermen.
with Josh. Like, I know of him, but
Josh
I've
is
never
the man.
actually met him.
I really like Josh a lot. He's a cool dude. He's big like I am. When we
Yeah.
hang out together, I feel normal.
Like brothers.
Yeah.
Y'all look a little alike, too.
Yeah, he's got a way better beard than me.
By Hubbard's Marina. Now your captains, Mike Anderson and Dylan Hubbard.
Bringing the heat with the music
Nice tunes.
on the last segment there, Derek. Nice job. Getting us pumped up for the last short segment of the day here. We, unfortunately, all good things come to an end, including the Real Animals radio show. And unfortunately, just a 2-hour show. Mike isn't here, so I have to remember to complain about that for him. No longer 3 hours, just 2 hours. So you guys are unfortunately going to have to say goodbye to us here shortly. But we still got a few minutes to wrap her up. Remember, this time of year is a great time of year to go out in the water. A lot of people ask, what's your favorite time to be out in the boat? What's your favorite time to go fishing? This is it. Transitional period, spring and fall. You ask any captain. We asked Bobby this on one of the last times you were here. You said spring and fall, the transitional periods. Mike asked him that. He said the same thing. I say that. Near shore, inshore, offshore, it don't matter. This is the time to be fishing. A lot of fish moving around, a lot of things happening on the water. Snook moving back into the backwaters. Redfish coming back in from offshore spawn. As JC said earlier, you can encounter those near shore spawning schools moving around. Got to be careful with them. We got pompano picking up on the beaches. Flounder bites starting to pick up more and more. The sheep's head are going to be coming back to the structures. We see the trout moving shallower this time of year. We've got the hogfish picking up near shore. The gag grouper are coming inshore. Big gag grouper bite in the bay right now. Trolling for gags is a hot option. Mackerel are thick.
Cobia and pompano at the power plants.
Oh, I forgot about. We didn't talk about cobia today. That's a good one. I like cobia. But we're not really seeing, are you seeing concentrations of cobia like we used to?
No.
Yeah, we're the same thing near shore and offshore. It's just nothing like what it once was. Cobia and kingfish, I think, are, and even mahi in some cases too. I know on the South Atlantic they talk about that more. In the Gulf, we don't have a huge mahi fishery, so, but all three of those pelagics. And I think it has a lot to do with the sargassum. We just haven't had the sargassum like we have had historically. There's a lot of talk about some big sargassum patch that's supposed to be coming in the Gulf, but I haven't seen that. So I don't know whether it was the BP oil spill and all the stuff they put in the water at that event, but those open water pelagic fisheries, cobia, mahi, kingfish, all fish that we need to put those $3,500 tags on, like you suggested for black drum, because we just don't know enough about their life histories. Luckily, mahi, we do. What's interesting to me is a lot of times when a fish becomes kind of commercially viable, like mahi was one of the fastest growing fish that swim.
Right.
So it became very commercially viable for aquaculture. So then all of a sudden private funds came out and they studied the heck out of them and learned a lot about their life history. So, and cobia as well.
Cobia, yeah.
Huge aquaculture product out of like the Baja, Mexico area, Baja, California area. And in Hawaii, they do a lot of aquaculture. And potentially in the Gulf, too, they're talking a lot about doing Almaco jacks off of Sarasota. Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting. And a very, very highly sought after food product in Hawaii. They've really done a big aquaculture project out there. And will be interesting how that evolves in the Gulf. So one thing on the horizon.
We'll have to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, exactly. That is the big question, Bobby. That's $1 million question, how it unfolds. Hopefully the nets don't fold up, but well, it's an exciting time of year. That's what we want to get out there, and hopefully we'll see you Tuesday, November 1st at 6 p.m. at Gator Gyms Tackle for that Florida Guides Association annual event and the Hurricane Ian Relief Fund. Captain Bobby, we got a few seconds left here. Tell everybody how they could get a hold of you if they want to book a charter with Fly 'em High Charters.
Sure. Phone number 863-224-1418 and email bwoodard240@gmail.com.
And Captain-Bobby.com. Captain-Bobby.com. Don't forget the dash.
Yep.
And definitely check him out. The man with a plan when it comes to tarpon definitely has those fish dialed in down there in Boca Grande, Port Charlotte. But he fishes. He's kind of a nomad. He fishes all over from North Florida to South Florida and Tampa Bay and all in between. So you can book Captain Bobby for a bunch of different charter fishing adventures. And appreciate you coming in this morning, man.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, it was fun hanging out with you, man. And Derek, appreciate you as well, making us sound great this morning. Don't forget to check out Real Animals Sunday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on DAE. And tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m., we have the Hubbard's Marina live stream show at 8:30 p.m. on our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of the Real Animals Radio Show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for putting up with us. See ya. Forgot to say, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too busy. Amateur hour.
I know, man. Have you never done this before?
No, it's my first day. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us on Facebook as well. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your comments. Sorry I was unable to stay up with the comments as much as I normally do, being as though I'm not in my normal seat this morning. But definitely hope you enjoyed the show and the stream. And again, thank you, Bobby, for joining us. And we hope to see you guys all out there Tuesday night, November 1st at 6 p.m. at Gator Gyms. Don't forget about the live stream show tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Tune in tomorrow morning to the Real Animals Facebook page to see the Sunday morning radio show on DAE, stream to the Real Animals Facebook page. Or catch it 620 WDAE tomorrow between 7 to 9 a.m. And I think that's all I got. You got anything to add?
I'm good. Just always a pleasure being here. I appreciate the invite, and you guys catch them up out there.
Yep, we'll see you guys on the water. Get out there and take advantage of that full moon bite and all the good things that are happening on the water. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. See you.